Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Hana Material Master Series. We're going to be creating today a new raw material for an scenario, a chemical scenario that we'll be using in other videos. Okay, let's start MMO1 for creating the material master or material object. Remember that MMO2 is to modify it, to edit, in MMO3 just to display. In this case, we're going to be creating. So the material would be, for example, raw. I think it's going to be something like, let me check one thing here. Yeah, it should be phosphorus source. So it's DAP, DAP. The material type was going to be raw, ROH. Sorry. You need to type in very quickly, otherwise it's searching other material types. Okay, so we have the three definition here, which is the material code. In this case, this will be an external code. That's why we can type in something here. And the chemical industry in this case, the chemical industry is coming automatically because I have set it up that way. Okay, I will show you in other videos how you can do that as well. We're not going to copy from another material necessarily this time. Maybe I can create another raw material using the copy from, so you save a lot of time because you have most of the typical values already copied from the reference material. Okay, but in this case, we're going to go over one by one. I'm not going to explain all of them. There is another video for that. It took more than 1 hour, so it's going to be fast this time. Okay, straight to the point. Okay, I have all these views selected. Those are the views or main views I would say that we need for a material in general. Okay, you might need less depending on the material type, or you might need more depending on material type and the functionalities you want to use. For example, I'm not including here for warehouse management or extended warehouse management, for example. Okay, basically, I'm just creating here basic one and two classification. Probably we will not assign anything yet. It's going to be another video for creating classes and characteristics. This time, we're just going to create the view, but we're not going to add anything. Again, there is a specific video with much more information if you want to check it out. So purchasing, we're going to create the four MRP views. In this case, it's a raw material. We're not going to handle this in advanced planning. It's just a raw material. We're going to be using general plan data 1 and 2, quality management, accountings 1 and 2, and costing 1 and 2. The reason these came up already selected is just because I normally select the views and press this button, default settings. Okay, so every time you open this with the transaction MMO1, you will see the default settings automatically showing up there. Okay, if you want to modify this, you can modify only for this material, not saving it, and then the next time you go to MMO1, it will pop up again with the same selection. If you want to modify it for future creations, well, you can just and click and then save it again. Okay, I'm gonna just leave this as it is, and I'm gonna jump into the creation. Again, this is already coming as well because it already saved as default settings that I'm going to work. I'm going to work with the GL01 plant that I just created for the sake of this series, okay, and storage location 0001. Next videos or other videos more for PP related, we might use the MRP profile, for example, okay? So this will be a quite simple material creation, but you're going to be probably tweaking a little bit this material later on for to achieve other scenarios or functionalities, or we can create new materials already with a specific values, okay, or fields that we need. The description, hopefully I have that. Yes, this is a phosphorus source. Yeah, phosphorus source. These are this scenario for this material will be used in the scenarios for chemical industry. In particular, these are fertilizers. Okay, that's why we're talking about phosphorus source. Okay, then it's going to be kg, the base unit of measure. This is mandatory, of course. Material group, we can choose material group is used normally for procurement, right? To be able to create reports, some functionalities can be used, or some enhancements you can do based on this. Okay, but basically, I created a few quickly just for the sake of having the right material group here. In this case, this is a phosphorus source, and that's a fertilizer. Basically, here it is. Okay, we can classify it as a chemical, but it's also a fertilizer in this case, more specific. We're going to choose fertilizer. Then we're going to be not using anything else. Again, I'm not going to explain all these fields. You have another video, more than 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, I guess it took. It was intended for a QM, but I have to review a lot of fields, not necessarily 100% of them. Again, keep in mind that you do not normally use all the fields, depending on the industry you are in, the functionalities you want to activate, etc. Okay, so in general, you never populate all the fields. Okay, so let's focus on the main ones now, the key ones now, I would say. So these are for other purposes. We're not going to touch anything. And this is the last time I'm going to be explaining or mentioning why I'm not considering all these fields. Okay. Okay. Product group. This is another interesting field. Probably we will have a video for creating this. In this case, maybe they do not make too much sense here. So I will be creating probably more specific. Okay. But just for the sake of showing you, I will just accept any of this, okay, randomly. Basically, this is another way of classifying the materials. Okay, so we have the material group in one case, which is the typical from ECC, and then we have this one extra that you can also use for report purposes. So you can do the combinations, okay, and you can have a more granular information if you want to get some reports for procurement, for example. Okay, so let's continue. Classification. When I'm creating the view, but not necessarily. Oh, sorry, I need to press enter in this case. So we're gonna go just to material class, but again, there is no classes, or there are some classes that are not relevant for the sake of my test case scenarios I'm going to be creating. So I'm going to ignore them. But basically, you will drop down the menu here, search for your class. You can assign a class, right? These are not relevant. So I'm going to be creating another video with the creation of new classes here. Yeah. So we're going to be first creating characteristics, assigning to the class, and then the class can be assigned to the material here. You can assign the 001 for material. It's kind of like extending properties, right, for the material itself. Or you can use this 023. 023 is for batches. We're going to be using this one as well. Okay, basically, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be creating specific classes, or at least a class that can be used for different purposes. Okay, since these are classes probably that we can reuse, okay, I will just select the first one just for the sake of showing you this. I'll be pressing enter here. Okay, and then these are typical classes that are automatic. Okay, so we don't need to do anything, but probably what we want is to create some class with some automatic characteristic, but also some manual characteristic, because we might need to use them, okay, for certain purposes. And of course, as you can see, the level is different. One is batch level, means that one batch can have a different value regarding the other batch. And in other cases, when we are talking about the class type 001, is the material itself. So no matter how many batches you can have of that material, is always going to be the same characteristics. Okay. So this is the main difference between the 023 for batch and the 001 for material. Okay, let's move on. So now we are in purchasing, typically purchasing group. We need to assign because the POs requires that, for example, or STOs. Okay, so I don't have any preference here. I'm just gonna select the 201, which is for raw materials in this case. We're not going to be changing anything. In a specific scenario, we might need to change or the unit or changing a few things in the material master. But let me just finish this in a standard, very typical values, with very typical values. Okay, the MRP1. In the MRP1, we have this important MRP type, which is mandatory. This is basically the way we want to replenish this material. For our raw material, we're going to be using this time MRP, regular MRP PD type, which is MRP. But then in other scenarios for planning, we will be checking other things, okay, other type of planning here, or reorder points, for example, automatic reorder point, etc. But this time, we're going to be using PD in general. Okay, so lot sizing is typical advisable, even though it's not mandatory here. We need to put some lot sizing. It means when you're gonna purchase something, right, or produce, in this case, it's a raw material, we're gonna be purchasing this, but basically, we want this for a specific amount, right? The amount can be an exact, right, which is basically if you need 100 kgs, you will purchase 100 kgs. But there is another one that can be time based, basically can be, for example, here, monthly or weekly. I'm going to be using weekly this time. Okay. Weekly means that we're going to be calculating how many kgs we need for this material for 1 week, right? And then the system will propose, the MRP live will propose the quantity for 1 week, entire week. It means that you want to purchase normally weekly, okay? Or if you're going to purchase monthly, well, you can define maybe lot size for a monthly lot size procedure, okay? Typically, in this case, this is coming probably in a bag of 25 kgs. So I'm going to be putting here the minimum we can purchase is 25. We cannot order 10. Maximum lot size, we're going to be, I don't know, for example, 10 bags in maximum. It means that if we need more than that, it will create a second PO for the other quantity, okay? Or line, depending on the situation, on the definition for the PO. But basically, it's going to be a new request, okay? Then we can use the rounded value here, which is going to be 25. Why? Because it's a bag of 25 kgs. So the minimum will be 25 in the maximum 10 times that one, or you can do 20 times, 100% time, 100 times or whatever. Okay, so let's continue. MRP group. We can also be using MRP group when we analyze the PP side. We're going to be probably doing more stuff here or putting more stuff here because the MRP group will determine other things. There are some configurations behind this that allows you to do specific things depending on the MRP group, for example. Okay, but for this case, we're going to be just moving to the next one. There's no MRP. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is the mandatory one. No need for reorder point because this is not reorder point specific. But anyway, probably is requesting that. But you will see that once we sort this out, just the MRP controller, which is very critical, it's kind of the person who is responsible for this material. Okay. If you are assigning MRP controllers by person, that is the case. Sometimes one person can have multiple hats. It means it will have multiple MRP controllers, numbers or codes. Okay. In this case, I just created these three very basic. We might do this in another video so you understand how to configure this probably with another approach. In this case, it's based on the material. If it's a raw material, semi-finished or finished good. This is a very simple one, but you can do this by chemistry. I'm sorry. You can do this by business. Um, yeah, type of business you are running, etc. Okay, so let's select in this case raw material because we know this is a raw material. Then let's move on. It's gonna be, yeah. See, it's the other error messages are gone because it's only one, the one that was incorrect. Okay, it's a procurement type F because you're going to be procuring this, let's say. There's no special procurement for this case. Production stores location, no need necessarily. Storage location for external procurement, yes. We're going to be receiving this from 001, okay? So typically you also put 001 here, unless you want to start doing movements between different storage locations um, before you use it in production, okay? But the simple process would be the same storage location. Planned delivery time, okay, this is our default delivery time for this material. We might change that specifically for a specific vendor, okay? But in another object, let's say, but in this case, we can put something, let's suppose this would be in 5 days, okay? It means that the vendor will require 5 days to deliver. The in-house production is not valid because, okay, safety stock. Maybe we want to have 50 kgs, 2 bags of this in safety stock, right? And in other videos, we will be, using more functionalities here. But this is a simple one, just to put a number here, and the system will consider this as a requirement, business requirement for the MRP to create some requirements. Okay, let's move on. So the MRP 3, this is not needed. This is not finished product. Availability check, let's just pick up one here, probably 02. Yeah, or maybe batches. Okay, let me just select this one this time. We haven't assigned any batches so far. The classification has not been used, so there are many things that are still missing here. Okay, so planning plan, yeah, nothing else in this case. I just want to be sure we are considering this as a batch, okay? But anyway, the dependent requirement is going to be basically collective, or we can use both. Okay, so let's leave this blank. It's going to be both. Nothing else so far. We're not going to be using this. Let's jump into the plan data. We do want to consider batches. Okay, so let me put some 365. In general, in the chemical industry, the shelf life is used in general. So let me just put that we don't want to be moving between plants if the expiration date is 30 days or less. Okay, no need to set because they cannot use that. It's going to be almost expired when it's arriving. That's the purpose of this one. So, and we want to do probably an inspection every 365 days. So let me do that in the, well, let's do that when it comes the quality management view. Okay, nothing else so far. Let me jump into the second one. I think we're not gonna. Okay, this is just telling us that the production must be entered in good receipt, right? Because they need to consider the expiration date or calculate the expiration date. In the volume, just gonna put just one here. No, like a factor. Okay. To be honest, we should put the right thing here. Okay, first. Okay, let me just come up with something here. 1 point. Yeah, these are bags. Okay, so we can still use 1-1 relationship because we're not increasing practically the size. Okay, I'm sorry, the weight, just because we have a very light, let's say, package. Okay, which is a bag. Okay. So if you have a very heavy container, this will be different, okay, of course. Okay, let me go to quality management now. Okay, we're not going to be setting up anything. We will do that for the test case scenario. Okay, in this case, we're just going to add this scenario. Sorry, this value. We set 365 because we want inspection intervals every year. Okay, which is the same as the shell life. Good to see processing time. I forgot to add this value. Remember that some fields are in different views. Okay, so this is the same field that was in previous view, including procurement. Okay, let me just press here to go to the next one, and then we will come back to the procurement just to show you that. Okay, now I'm forced to put some value here because there are fields that are mandatory. Okay, so valuation class is a mandatory field, even though it's not saying it. It's very important. We will not be able to do some movements if we don't put anything here. Okay, so 3,000 in this case is for raw materials. We're going to be using this raw material right now. Okay, we need to put the standard price in euros in this case. Not sure how much it costs, but let me put just something like €2 per kg, maybe less than this, but yeah, okay. Let me put some 1.5 per kg. Okay, so we can do this always increasing if we want. For example, we can increase by 100, and then it's going to be two more zeros, and then we need to remove the decimal points. Okay, this is a similar thing. Why we can do this, or we need to do this? Sometimes you have very low value, right? And then you want to consider more decimals. Okay, to consider decimals, you want to purchase for more quantity. The price is the same because the price will be this one divided by this one. Okay, it means if you remove, sorry, I was doing the wrong thing here. Yeah. So 1.5, it's 150, okay, by 100. Sometimes you use 1,000. That's what why I got confused, is because normally when you need more decimals, you need to put 1,000 here, okay? But this will be the same thing. That's putting 1.5 because you divide this, you move the decimal here. Decimal point. Okay, basically this will be it. Let me just press enter here and see what happened. See, the US dollar was converted in price units was changed as well because they changed the price unit here. So once I save this, we cannot modify this anymore from this transaction. Okay, keep in mind that normally there are two approaches for a company. Okay, sometimes they create the material with the standard price already, like we are doing now, or they just create it as it is with no standard price, and then financial or controlling department will change that later in a different transaction. Okay, so this is the typical approach. Okay, we're not going to be using this time. Cost in one, we just need to create some of these views. And of course, we can use it in the specific functionalities. Like, for example, we can use different bill of material for costing compared to the production bill of materials and that kind of stuff. Those would be probably other videos for product costings as well. Here is also used for different way of costing. You can add certain values that you know is going to be increased, and you can integrate that in the product costing. But we will just leave this as it is. Okay, now let's go back to the purchasing view. I just want to share with you the values. Yeah, here it is. Okay, I was suspecting this one to be activated. Okay, we want the batch management for this material. Okay, first of all. And then there was another value that I was mentioning that was in the, I put 1 day in the quality management view, basically it was related to how long it takes to do a good receipt. Okay, this is important for the MRP because the MRP, if you tell the MRP it's going to take 1 day and you need to start producing and you need that raw material for today, for example, right? Then the MRP knows that the raw material should have arrived, let's say, yesterday. Because if it arrived yesterday, it's going to take 1 day for you, for the plant, to do the inspections, to do anything that it's needed until it's available. Okay, this is the good to see processing time purpose. Okay, it's a generic way of saying quality management will come in here, will do their thing, right? And you need to do other things as well, some paperwork, for example. So even though you're not inspecting a material, sometimes you need to do some paperwork anyway, right? Whether it's material management internally that you need to move things from one place to another, or you want to do conditioning of this or whatever. Okay, so normally it's 1 day. If you put zero, it means that it can arrive the same day that you need. Typically, for bulks, for example, bulk trucks, of course, you're going to be receiving and probably using it right away if you want, or not, right? Because if there is a quality management or quality inspection, I would say that takes 1 day, you need more, probably 2 days here, right? And when you have an import that is regulated, probably you will need much more days as well for the countries that has regulatory rules that the government will send someone to inspect, right, and approve to release the usage and that kind of stuff, right? So that might take 7 days, 10 days, whatever. Okay, let me close this video for today. I'm just gonna save this. Let's see if we have any issue. No issues at all. I'm just gonna display the material. And here you go. Okay, so we have our materials, we have the purchasing view, we have everything that we have set up, including the QM view. Again, this is not necessarily to work with QM again because there is no inspection. We're not activating the procurement data here that we will in the future for other videos, or you can already see the other video that it's considering all this stuff as well. Okay, this was just to show you the creation of new materials, in this case a chemical or fertilizer, to produce a finished good, which is, or it's going to be a fertilizer as well. Okay. Okay. We can close our session for today. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe or like the video. And if you want to support the channel, you can go to Patreon. You can find the information in the description box. Thank you.